Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to address such a distinguished audience today. And I would like to thank Turkish Heritage Organization for organizing this event and for its contributions to the Turkish-American dialogue. This time I am in Washington, D.C. to participate in the coalition meeting against Daesh. We are going to meet tomorrow. And we will have also like-minded countries meeting this evening at the embassy of, or the residence of French ambassador. And thank you very much for coming. And Turkey and the United States are vitally important for each other, as summarized very well by the moderator. And we are two prominent members of the international community. We are strong allies. We have distinct comparative advantages. And when we work together effectively, we bring about positive change. So it is important that Turkey and the United States understand and help each other much better. But we have to admit that two issues overshadowed our relations in the last months of the previous administration. These are the veto issue and the American support to YPG-PYD. We are determined to work with the new administration, of course, and we believe we can re-energize Turkish-American relations and cooperation. But these two highly sensitive matters must be resolved. These are two key factors for the future of our relations. And unfortunately, these are the two key factors that affected the emotions of the Turkish people in last 1 year very negatively. And we are hopeful that the new U.S. administration will do the math and put things back on the track. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, Turkish-American partnership can make a real difference in dealing with our common challenges. Extended conflicts, terrorism, weak and failed states. Unfortunately, the list doesn't end here. Existing risks have gained new dimensions: irregular migration, food insecurity, cyber terrorism, extremism, racism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, Christianophobia, and so forth. So how are we going to face all these challenges? And no single country and no single policy can address these common challenges that we have been facing, our societies have been facing. And inaction cannot be the policy to overcome these challenges or the situation. So what do we do? How does Turkey address the problems and the challenges of our day in our region and beyond? In one sentence, we implement, as Turkey, we implement a foreign policy that is enterprising and humanitarian. It is enterprising in the sense of taking initiatives to resolve the problems. Back in 2005, we co-sponsored the UN Alliance of the Civilizations initiative with Spain. And that was an important step to counter increasing extremism and intolerance. Today, because of the problem that I just mentioned, the importance of this initiative is more evident than ever. And we need the messages of Alliance of the Civilizations more than ever today because of the same problems. And we are co-chairing the UN Mediation for Peace initiative together with Finland. And the number of the friends of this group is also growing. I am happy to see that it's growing. And as a responsible partner, we also undertake active roles in a range of international and regional platforms, from G20 to Economic Cooperation Organization. And Turkey was chairman of the G20 in 2015, and we hosted G20 summit in my hometown, Antalya. Thank you very much for mentioning my hometown as well, that I have the honor to represent it in the Turkish Parliament for last 15 years. And currently, we are holding the chairmanship of Black Sea Economic Cooperation. We are going to host the 25th summit, and we are going to celebrate the 25th anniversary of this organization. We need to actually reform this organization to make it more politically relevant around the Black Sea. And MICTA, this is the Mexico, Indonesia, Korea, Turkey, and Australia forum within G20, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. You know, OIC has 56 member states. It's an important organization, and we are doing also our best to reform this organization to make it more active to deal all the problems that we have been facing, and also to kill the ideology of the terrorist organizations like Daesh. So in this diversified set of organizations, NATO maintains its essential role as the cornerstone of Euro-Atlantic security. And we hope that as two leading allies, Turkey and the United States will cooperate in revitalizing this organization, as well as the transatlantic bond and solidarity. In this context, we take the new US administration's call for a better and fairer burden sharing seriously. Turkey is currently ranking 7th among the allies in defense spending, and we are working towards reaching the 2% target, which was set during the Wales summit and also reconfirmed during the Warsaw summit, and have increased our defense spending by 4.5% in 2016 compared to 2017, and we will increase our defense spending in 2017 as well. And another unchanged pillar of our foreign policy is our strategic choice of EU membership. However, as you all see, we don't see the same commitment from the EU side, unfortunately. And what we only see is that the EU lacks a basic understanding of the events in Turkey and beyond. And our common fight against irregular migration is a recent example. Turkey has effectively rescued the EU by stemming the irregular migration flow via the Aegean Sea. Compared to the January last year, a 98% rate of success has been achieved due to the measures that we have been taking. But some of the EU leaders do not even want to accept this clear fact. Why? Because they are blinded by their own political calculations. As a matter of fact, this is a reflection of a broader problem in Europe. The extremist political parties are on rise in many European countries, and some of them are at the eve of the elections. You can see how much support they are getting according to the public opinion polls, and Wilders became second in the Netherlands. So ironically, this doesn't lead the center parties to defend democracy and freedoms. On the contrary, they adopt the very same extremist ideology and policies. We have been advising and warning the mainstream political parties in Europe from right and left, to stand stronger than ever to defend the core values of Europe against those radical parties. But we see a clear shift of these political parties. They are moving towards far right or far left. This is not good news for the future of the continent. And we keep telling our European friends that this is a short-sighted outlook. And populism will eventually undermine the core values of democracy, civility, multiculturalism, and human rights. So I have serious concerns. Maybe we can discuss this during the question and answer session of our meeting. So the European leaders also need to see third countries as equals. This is also one of the main problems of the key European countries and the European Union itself. So you cannot impose unilateral policies. This is what we are trying to explain to them. And we have we can have differences in the standards or economic developments. Also, there are differences within the EU members or between the EU member states as well. But it doesn't mean that some of the countries are the big bosses and the others have to obey. It doesn't mean that they are the first class and the others are the second class nations or the countries. This is what the EU and some EU countries have to understand. So if the EU wants to become a global player again, it must respect the differences. Ladies and gentlemen, Turkey has time and again showed that we can take bold steps for peace and prosperity in the long term. One recent example is the Cyprus issue. Up to this stage, Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots have shown a very constructive approach, and we supported the talks in Geneva. And we were ready. And we know what we want, and we don't know what, we know what we don't want. And we have been very clear. And the framework of the negotiations is also very clear. And the two sides announced the framework of the negotiations in February 2014. But so far, the Greek Cypriots have ignored our positive steps. That's why, unfortunately, the talks, there is a pause on talks in Cyprus, and particularly after the resolution adopted by the Greek Cypriot Parliament on NSS. So it proved once again that they still have this dream to unite Cyprus to Greece. So this is unacceptable neither for Turkish Cypriots nor Turkey. So they refuse to accept, the main problem is that they refuse to accept Turkish Cypriots as co-owners of the island. And they refuse to see them as equal partners. And in South Cyprus, I mean in Greek Cypriot side, there is an upcoming presidential election. Unfortunately, not only Anastasiadis himself, the other political parties that are supporting the solution also becoming very populistic. So it is undermining the ongoing negotiations. So we saw the same movie actually in 2004, and back then Greek Cypriots strongly rejected the solution. They rejected the Annan plan. And this was a missed opportunity, and it was a grave mistake. And this is the last opportunity, last window of opportunity for a settlement. I hope this time we will not miss it. And we hope the Greek Cypriots change their mentality this time, and we can reach a just, fair, and durable settlement in the island. And solution for Cyprus issue will be a significant step in making the Eastern Mediterranean as an area of peace, stability, and prosperity, which we need, particularly at this moment in the region. Because in Eastern Mediterranean, we have so many challenges and the crisis and the civil wars and terrorism is there, irregular migration, mass flow of refugees, whatever you name it, all there. And unfortunately, it will not be enough on its own, I mean, to bring the stability to the Eastern Mediterranean. Just solving the Cyprus problem is not enough alone. So the conflict in Syria remains as the most serious problem in our region. This is why we have actively promoted a political solution, a solution based on a democratic, inclusive, secular, and non-sectarian system based on serious political unity and territorial integrity. To this end, we launch concrete initiatives. As of the end of last year, we have engaged Russia and eventually Iran and to make a peace or to enhance a kind of cessation of the hostilities, first in Aleppo, then also to extend the cessation of the hostilities or ceasefire to the other areas of conflicts between the regime and the opposition. And we were able to evacuate 45,000 civilians from Aleppo thanks to these initiatives and cooperation. And we also took concrete steps for a ceasefire that is still holding, as I mentioned. And we have organized the Astana meeting to support the ceasefire, so the direct negotiations could be started in Geneva. And the direct negotiations in Geneva are already started. Astana is not an alternative to Geneva process. It's rather complementary, and it is a good platform for the confidence-building measures between the regime and the opposition. And our efforts to promote political solution and our support to the Geneva process, of course, will continue. Look forward having the next rounds of meetings both in Geneva and Astana. In the meantime, we cleared Daesh from across our borders. More than 2,000 square kilometers of Syrian territory have been cleared thanks to the Operation Euphrates Shield. And we have also stopped thousands of foreign terrorist fighters from reaching Syria. Or we have captured some of them on the way back from Syria while they were going back to their own countries or source countries. Being at the forefront of the Daesh threat, we continue to fight against it with great determination. No one, I underline here, no one has done more. And we have eliminated almost 3,000, more than 3,000 Daesh terrorists. Around 2,700 Daesh terrorists we eliminated in Münbic area, and around 700 Daesh terrorists that we have killed in Iraq, only from the Bashika camps, because Bashika camp became a target of Daesh because we have been training and equipping local forces against Daesh there. That's why they attacked several times, and we eliminated more than 700 terrorists there. And I must also underline that in our fight against Daesh, we do not rely on other terrorist organizations. Why? Because there is no good terrorists, or there is no handy terrorists. Yet some Washingtonians do not seem to care about this. I raised this issue today with General McMaster, and I will continue raising this issue tomorrow with Secretary Tillerson. And I also met today Attorney General Jeff Sessions. So this is a very sensitive issue, and unfortunately, they support and legitimize YPG and PYD just because they are in fight against Daesh. Let me put this clearly once again. YPG, PYD is just an extension of PKK, which is a Marxist-Communist terrorist organization. And these are the terrorists that kill the innocent civilians in Turkey. They use the same cadres, same camps in Syria. And the PKK terrorists are responsible, who are responsible of the last terrorist attacks, suicide bomb attacks in Ankara, Istanbul, all came from YPG camps in Syria. So we cannot rely on another terrorist organization in our fight against Daesh. Tomorrow, 68 countries will be coming together against Daesh. Actually, this is not our first meeting. We have been gathering together for more than 3 years. 68 countries don't have any predetermined, result-oriented strategy. and 68 countries have not been able to defeat one terrorist organization. They have like 30, they used to have 30,000 terrorists, and we have to rely on another terrorist organization. Why PYD is fighting terrorists? Just because they hate the ideology of Daesh? No, because they want to divide Syria. And they want to gain more territory within Syria. Not because they hate Daesh. So this is also a risk for the political future of Syria. So we have to also plan post-Daesh era in Syria. If we are for territorial integrity and political unity of the country, we have to be very careful when we are dealing with terrorist organizations. And as a principle, first of all, for any reason, we shouldn't rely on any terrorist organization. This was the mistake of the previous administration. I hope the new administration will not repeat the same mistake. So, as I said at the beginning, hopefully we will have much better cooperation with the new administration on all these issues. PYD, PKK, Daesh, and FETÖ, whatever their name be, they are united by an evil method. So they pose a serious threat not only to our own national security, but also to the global security. This threat can only be addressed through effective international cooperation and solidarity. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, while trying to solve problems, we also aim to deepen our friendships. The world is polarized, and we have responsibility to bridge differences. And we must focus on the areas of collaboration instead of differences. And with this understanding, we have established high-level strategic and cooperation councils with different countries that we are convening the joint ministerial council meetings every year. And we are signing many agreements and following up the implementation of all these agreements or memorandum of understandings. And these mechanisms serve to enhance political dialogue and bilateral relations in many concrete areas. We have most recently held the Turkey-Russia High-Level Cooperation Council meeting on March 10th in Moscow. With Russia, we talk about our differences and relaunch our established mechanisms. Today, our bilateral relations are revitalized and we cooperate on some regional issues like Syria, as I mentioned at the beginning. On the other hand, we continue to voice our disagreements with Russia very clearly. And for instance, we continue to support the territorial integrity of Georgia and Ukraine, including Crimea. And we follow the same constructive policy vis-à-vis Israel. And we just normalize our relations with Israel. And Israel met our expectations, and we restored our relations, and ambassadors were reappointed mutually and simultaneously. And as part of our multi-layered diplomacy, we have also started a series of regional initiatives, both in Balkans and also in Caucasus and beyond. These include the trilateral mechanism with Afghanistan and Pakistan. I'm sure you are following the situation between two countries, and such mechanism has been very helpful, actually, to bring two countries together and to discuss all these challenging issues in a very frank manner. And Azerbaijan and Iran, Georgia and Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan and Azerbaijan, Bosnia-Herzegovina and Serbia, Bosnia and Croatia are the other trilateral mechanisms that we have been using very effectively. And we need to do better, actually, in the West Balkans, particularly. The situation is still very fragile there. And we have also been reaching out Latin America and the Caribbean and Africa and Asia Pacific as well. One example, both SICA and CELAC ministerials will be convened in Istanbul on 21st April. So the foreign ministers of CELAC and SICA countries will be coming all the way to Istanbul, and we will have our own meetings there and discuss our regional cooperations. And with the presence of 2,036 diplomatic missions worldwide, and we are doing our best to implement our multidimensional foreign policy. Our policy is enterprising, but also humanitarian, as I mentioned at the beginning of my speech. We see this as a moral responsibility, first of all. Turkey provided $3.9 billion of official humanitarian and development aid in 2015, and we are the second biggest humanitarian donor after the U.S., and we are the most generous humanitarian actor in terms of GDP allocated for humanitarian assistance in the world. And we host more than 3 million Syrians and Iraqis who took shelter in Turkey, and we are the biggest host country according to the UNHCR figures. And we are doing these things because we believe that saving innocent lives and ending human suffering is as important as fighting terrorism. When you look at the root causes of the many problems, you see terrorism, you see lack of economic development, high rate of unemployment, and natural disasters. And we have to focus on the root causes of all these problems to avoid all these challenges and terrorism and the impacts of all these negative developments on our countries and the societies. So at the end, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, explaining Turkish foreign policy in such a short span of time is mission impossible. Yeah. And I could only present a broad panorama. There are other issues, and I could touch upon. Maybe we can address them in the question and answer session. I need that because of the jet lag. I'm about to sleep here, so I better stop here. But at the end, when you look at all these issues that I'm trying to summarize, the collaboration and cooperation between two allies, United States and Turkey, is inevitable. Thank you very much for your patience.